I'm Stephanie Friedman. I am the Education Program Manager at Moving Traditions, and I am here with Sydnie Ciment. Sydnie is the Youth Engagement Coordinator at Temple Sinai in Dresher, Pennsylvania, and they have been running our groups since 2004. Their Rosh Chodesh groups have been running for 15 years, and their Shevet groups have been running for 8 years. Sydnie currently leads 2 Rosh Chodesh groups, one that's been meeting for 3 years and one that's been meeting for 7 years. So thanks so much for taking the time to meet with me today, Sydnie, and talk to our community about your retention tips for your teens.
Sure.
So when Sydnie and I discussed her retention tips, she mentioned 3 things that really stood out to her, and we're going to talk about those today. So can you talk to me about the first thing you mentioned, which was your group leaders?
Sure. Paying group leaders is key to retaining the teens. One of the things I really strive for is group leaders that have a touch point with teens already, and an engaging personality. So maybe the group leader works at a camp or works in a religious school or just is in the community doing other teen engagement themselves. And just an engaging personality, someone that the teens connect with, that's fun to be around, that also adds their own spin to the already great curriculum that Moving Traditions, provides.
Great.
So.
You'd also mentioned that when you, as a supervisor, hire group leaders, that you talk to them about being in contact with parents. Can you share how that works?
Absolutely. All of my group leaders that I oversee are expected to communicate with the parents typically after a group, so after a gathering. Just nothing that would break confidentiality with the group, but just an overview of what's going on. This helps the parents feel like they're part of it to some degree, as well as them knowing what's going on. And even some of the things that have been really great with getting parents involved is if the group leader might suggest snacks that are really popular. So it's not always like serious stuff. Sometimes it's just making the parents feel like they're included in the group too.
Great. The second thing that Sydnie mentioned is how to keep parents involved, which in turn leads to retention. Can you share with us?
Sure. So in addition to having my group leaders communicate directly with the parents, I have parents that have over time evolved with communication and have went from email to starting their own Facebook groups. I have one group that all the parents, the moms, have their own dinner during when the group is gathering. So just making sure the parents find their own connection to the, Rosh Chodesh or Shevet has been key.
Great. And the last thing Sydnie mentioned is when a group leader may have moved on and a new group leader transitioned into the role of group leader. Can you share with us your experience in that? Because you've had a couple groups where that's happened.
Yeah, so that's always a challenge, especially for one of the groups. The group leader was with them for quite some time. So transitioning, is not always easy, but it's also something that happens. And one of the ways that we've dealt with that transition is just communicating with the girls, asking them, this was a specific to a Rosh Chodesh group, both of the groups that I ended up having to transition group leaders with were Rosh Chodesh groups, and just communicating with the group, making sure that they feel supported and also know that, we're trying to provide a good group leader for them, and just hearing what they've already done, whatever works for them, and also how we can make it better since there is this natural transition.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Sydnie. We really appreciate you taking the time to share with our community your best retention tips, and stay tuned for our next video.